Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Before we get into today's story, make sure you subscribe, tap the like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dive reports from the world of Turkish entertainment. Today we're unpacking a timeline that has kept fan pages buzzing for months, the private but not so private bond between Yaman and Demet Özdemir. For a long stretch, the pair let the rumor mill do the talking while they focused on work and avoided labels. Then, in a moment that ricocheted across social media and entertainment sites, Ken hinted that there was nothing left to hide. What changed, why now, and what does that mean for how they plan to live and protect their relationship in public? Let's trace the arc with care and context. To understand the temperature of the discourse, you have to remember where it started. From the first time Yaman and Demet Özdemir shared the screen, audiences picked up on an ease that felt unscripted, the kind of timing and trust that can't be manufactured in a table read. Clips traveled far beyond Turkey, edits stacked up millions of views, and suddenly fans from Rome to Rio were reading between every line, every glance, every behind-the-scenes laugh. With that global attention came a familiar paradox. The closer the camera gets, the more artists want to step back. While tabloids wrote in bold letters, the two actors kept their captions short, their statements measured, and their personal lives tightly edited. That restraint held for quite a while. Work came first, openings were attended, interviews returned politely to craft, and the personal remained personal. When questions did slip into press conferences, "Are you together? Are you seeing someone?" the answers stayed consistent and non-committal. It wasn't a game of denial. It was a set of boundaries. Privacy wasn't a coy marketing strategy. It was a survival strategy, an attempt to build a life spacious enough to breathe even as the public leaned in to see more. The mood shifted during a whirlwind stretch of appearances when a small sentence landed with oversized weight. After an event where cameras were everywhere and speculation was already loud, Ken offered a line that fans quoted and requoted in translation: "The era of hiding was over." He didn't deliver a lecture, he didn't hold up a ring, he didn't turn a private page into a stage prop. He simply suggested, in his own restrained way, that the story people assumed belonged to them in fragments could now be known in full without being performed. Within hours, hashtags fused the names together again, this time not just as characters but as a couple choosing visibility on their own terms. That choice didn't erase the past, it explained it. For months, both stars navigated an impossible puzzle: how do you protect something fragile while the world tries to turn it into a headline? The answer, it turns out, was patience. Quiet dinners instead of public declarations. Shared projects buffered by separate press days. Even their social media footprints told the story in negative space, less about what was posted, more about what was never posted at all. When the hint arrived that the hiding phase had ended, the reveal felt less like a twist and more like a confirmation of what careful observers had already understood. Fans responded in waves. The first wave was pure celebration, messages about how love deserves light, about how secrets weigh more than their worth, about how long patience can finally exhale. The second wave was protective, reminders that openness does not mean access, that being seen does not mean being summoned on demand. The third wave was practical. Questions about how they would handle press going forward, whether red carpets would now be shared, whether brand deals would pivot to couple campaigns, whether new projects would lean into their joint magnetism or keep their careers on parallel tracks. Across all three waves, one theme kept repeating: respect the boundary lines that brought them here. Industry watchers were quick to map the strategic implications. When a couple with this level of international recognition chooses to stop dodging speculation, the marketing calculus changes overnight. Profiles can be pitched differently, magazine covers can be framed as dual narratives, and global platforms suddenly see the advantage of building campaigns around genuine chemistry rather than manufacturing it in a storyboard. But the same analysts offered a warning: overexposure can pulverize exactly what audiences want to feel. The strongest plan would be a selective one. Share a little, protect a lot, and make sure the work never plays second violin to the relationship. There is, too, a human rhythm to all of this that doesn't fit neatly into promo schedules. Demet Özdemir has always projected clarity, disciplined, articulate, precise about the balance between vulnerability and privacy. Yaman, for his part, understands performance as a craft and presence as a choice. Put together, their approach to openness feels less like a door flung wide and more like a window unlatched. They are not auditioning for the role of public couple. They are simply declining to perform secrecy. That distinction matters, because it sets expectations for what will and will not be shared as the months unfold. What about the message embedded in their shift for the audience itself? It's surprisingly mature. In choosing not to play hide-and-seek anymore, the pair essentially asked fans to recalibrate. Don't interrogate the private life. Don't turn kindness into entitlement. Don't confuse visibility with permission. If you love the work, keep loving the work. If you're rooting for the people, do it with the gentleness you would want for yourself. Celebrity culture can encourage the opposite, turning intimacy into commodity, but here the signal was different: let happiness breathe. Of course, the practical questions remain, and they are fair ones. Will we see them on carpets together when the timing fits? Probably, if it suits the project and the mood. Will there be curated photos, an anniversary caption, a quick handheld video from a quiet street after a long day? Possibly, in their own time. Will every interview now open with a personal question? Almost certainly. And just as certainly, many of those questions will be declined. Visibility is not a surrender, it is a controlled reveal, and the controls will stay firmly in their hands. If you zoom out, you can see the broader arc: secrecy to protect the fragile, clarity to honor the durable. It's a pattern that other public couples have used successfully. You start small, you keep your circle tight, you learn what the relationship needs to feel steady when eyes are watching. Then, when the foundation feels strong, you stop pretending the house is invisible. The walls don't disappear, they simply no longer need to be disguised as something else. For Yaman and Demet Özdemir, this is that moment of architectural honesty. As this new chapter begins, the wisest prediction is also the least dramatic: they will continue to choose work with intention, to decline bait about private details, and to let the relationship exist as a quiet through line rather than a flashing marquee. Fans will get glimpses. Enough to feel included, never so much that the center gets crowded. Press will try to push, they will steer back to craft. Brands will make offers, they will accept only those that do not ask their lives to become billboards. The line is not arbitrary. It is the same line that protected them when the rumors were loud and the truths were whispered. So here is our message to this community that has followed every rise and dip of the story. Celebrate the openness without demanding a spectacle. Share congratulations without asking for proof. And if you want to support them in a way that actually matters, do what brought you here in the first place: watch the work, talk about the choices, and let the human beings at the center of it enjoy the simple privilege of being human. That is the respect they asked for when they were silent, and it is the respect that will keep this new clarity from curdling into noise. Thank you for watching Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If this breakdown helped you see the bigger picture behind the headlines, make sure you subscribe, hit like, and consider joining for bonus deep dives and production timelines as new projects are announced. We'll keep separating signal from noise, honoring the craft, and following the story where it actually lives. Until next time, take care and see you in the next video.